Yo, check the mic, 1, 2, Beacon is the name. Lights up the city, ain't playing no games. Joel Simmons and Michael Seville, the vision is clear. Dropping knowledge, conquering all of your fear. Beacon, Beacon, that's the sound of the future. The main hosts are here, they built the whole structure. Community strong, we rise from the ground. The Beacon power up, yeah, time to look up.
What is going on? What is going on, people? It is Community Beacon. I am one of your hosts, Michael Seville, here, your North Palm Beach real estate guy. Of course, on the other side of the screen, we got my brother from another mother, D. Joel Simmons.
Yes,
Been a while, brother. What's going on?
Oh, man, all is well. Work, man, work, and the impact thereof of going out in true entrepreneurship. I suppose this is true entrepreneurship, not to discredit anybody who's got a side hustle, if you understand what I mean. But every single day going out, understanding that what you do is what you make, period. So it's been good. It's been good. It's been a new challenge for me, and I've been embracing it. So as we talked about before, the process is something else, and really getting into the groove of it. I'd say this part. I spoke with a friend of mine on one occasion, and we were talking about entrepreneurship. And as we spoke, he said to me, he said, yeah, man, that entrepreneurship is something else, because when it rains outside, this is in a reference to him being a truck driver. He said, when it rains outside, nobody can tell you. You can't blame it on somebody else when your paycheck isn't as large at the end of the week. He said, because you drive the truck and you are the boss. So if you didn't get up and go outside and drive the truck, or if you didn't make provision, then it's on you. And I love that analogy that he gave, right? I love that analogy. So I'm enjoying this season of life. It's different. It's expanded my brain, my mindset, right? So that's where I am, brother. I feel good.
Yeah, we actually didn't even need to name the show. There's so many questions I have in regards to just that statement that you made. So that's interesting. Yes, there's a lot to dive into. The name of the show today is "What Happens When You Stop Running," and I think that's what Claude gave me. I put
What's
this
up, Claude?
Yeah, what's up, Claude? I put this thing in the Claude and it spit it out, and I'm like, you and I asked questions, and I was like, well, where are you going with this, Claude? I didn't even know what this. Actually, I think it was when the treadmill stops, or when the treadmill stops, or something to that extent. And I was like, well, let's make it a little bit more engaging by asking a question, Claude. And Claude said, okay. Responded with, and it gave me what happens when you stop running. And I think I think the way we can really dive into this conversation is definitely in regards to business. You were speaking about entrepreneurship and business. I think that'd be awesome to take a look at. I think, how do we do it as far as in our personal lives? There's some things that came up for me recently that I thought was interesting as we dove into this, and you spoke a second ago in regards to the process, and the experience, and how you're currently stepping into it. So I think those are some of the things we can kind of jump into. So personally, business wise, relationships, and probably we spoke about this pre-show, was kind of making this a series. And I think for me personally, the series was more so on, because I have a lot of things running in my mind So it kind of like how it relates to all this stuff, how we're operating within it, human nature. You spoke about impact. I think that's huge. It was interesting. I was on a conversation recently with someone, and they were talking to me about the technical aspects of their business. And I think we kind of were saying the same thing. So we were like talking past each other. So I like had to take a deep breath and I was like, oh, okay, you're talking about this. And in my mind, I'm just thinking about impact. And so it's interesting that we're, the technically how and strategies that we use to get to something is kind of what he was wrapping his mind around. And I was just like, well, what's the impact of it? How does it impact the people that I serve? How does it impact my family? And most importantly, how does it impact me? And how I can express that and what I get in that. This year, and I told people, if you go back to December, December show, I looked at, I said, this year for me is about joy, like things, being around people, um, persons, places, the environment, boundaries, and how do I make this joyful for me? I actually stepped out into what I heard you say, anyways, which was true entrepreneurship, which means that I'm not working a job and doing this. Although I've seen people who could do both, and I think that's awesome. But when I stepped out and left the city, it was exactly 10 years ago. And so I've been blessed enough to be around this long. Um, had a chance, and I actually posted it on Facebook. I actually wrote something in regards to it my first year, and I put it in my Apple Notes, and I was able to go back 10 years back and see what I wrote. And I was like, man, brother, your boy's a visionary. The way that what I wrote 10 years ago and the same conclusion that I've come to, here it is 10 years later. So I think awesome to jump into it. I don't know what do you want to start with? Or we can kind of just start to frame this out for the next couple of weeks. How to look for the next couple of weeks.
I believe it'd be good to frame it out. However, I don't see a complete framework just yet. And the only reason why I say that, because it's not that I don't see a framework, it's because I'm so interested in the conversation. I'm just very much so interested. Is my internet okay?
You just froze up. I can hear you clearly. The screen is frozen though, however.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go without the screen for a moment, and then I'll reset it in just a moment. But so I have like four things that came to my mind just based off of the topic, along with the five things that you introduced as possible subject matter for today, and some responses to some of the things that you were mentioning, even as we're kind of volleying back and forth some of the words. Some of the things that I think about when I stop running, you mentioned, right? Impact. I thought that was really great. And I would go as far as to say, add one additional word to that same category, impact and imprint, right? Also consideration. I heard you talking about that, because when you stop running, I think about a marathon, I think about a sprint whenever you come to the end, or I think about in a business run, a sales run, whatever, whenever you're getting into, a lot of times you get, people can become obsessed or they can become highly focused. So I also see how life hits the minute you stop running. Life hits. Another category I thought about was just thought manifestation. When you stop running, where were you when you started running? Where are you now that you stopped running? Where are you going? 3 questions. Then I also think about recovery. right? What do I need to re-up on? What do I need to power up on? And with recovery, also, what enhancements do I need? So, like recovery and enhancement, you know, I may need to recover from something, but I also may need to enhance something else in order for me to go the rest of this journey. A few other things that I thought about was the December vision this year for you, Mike, was joy, right? And I think that that's beautiful. And so mine was to tenaciously grow. And I know that you've mentioned joy umpteen times, but it was today in the context of this conversation that I actually thought about what my vision goal was. And it was tenacious growth. Like that was the plan for this year. That was the name of this year. And when I thought about that, I recognized that it is exactly what has been taking place. A tenacious growth spurt. So that comes with growing pains as well as growing gains. And as far as the process goes, because I am so prepared for this, and I don't mind adding you into this, and you can always deny it, but I would say because we are so prepared for these types of situations, I feel we have become extremely prepared for these types of scenarios, this type of situation, this type of acute vision, as well as this understanding of where we are, who we are, where we're going, that this present moment, even in the, if you will, the pains of it and the gains of it, it feels so right. It feels so good. I love to give you my expression on my face, but it's just like, it feels so good, so very good. And doesn't matter to me if a person came up to me, well, what are you talking about? The gains or the pains? Both. Both.
Yeah.
I don't even want to attempt to get my camera right, because if I do, I'm going to miss something that you say. And I don't want to miss a word that you say. So we'll put it back in your hands. I'm just going to hang out here and see if I can get my camera working. And if I can't, I'm not going out. I just want to hear what you got to say.
I think so good. What does it feel like in the, for someone to hear like the when you talk about the pains and the gains? It's interesting. I was on a phone call recently with a past client, which is awesome. Like, I don't even understand why I don't call these people more often. I've had some awesome people that I've done business with, and probably some people that aren't so awesome as well. That would rather not do business. Matter of fact, there was one that I was just like, if this person calls me again, I'm just saying my number changed. That's what I was saying. I'm gonna say my number changed. Right?
Hey, hold on 1 second. Are you going to answer the phone and say my number's changed?
Yeah. My
I'm
number,
messing with you.
my numbers changed, and it's not even, and it's not them, but because it's really a lot. You spoke about preparation, so even preparing people, like the expectations and what they should expect of you and what you should expect of them. And I think oftentimes when you are in the position of providing the service, you don't necessarily prepare people for your process. Most of us don't even have a process, right? Like sometimes we just wake up and we're winging it. Like, what is life going to throw at me today? I'm gonna wing it. So I think one of the things we'll definitely get into is the standards. But I digress. I was speaking with her, and she was talking about, she had taken on a supervisor or position, and she has some direct reports. And She was talking about one specific direct report, and I'm just like, when you go through those different situations, like first off, it's if you're open to it, there's a lesson to be learned in it, right? Just like I just told you about that client, there was a lesson for me to learn in this client with this client. So if I have said that I was in business for the last 10 years, hopefully I would have learned some lessons whilst doing it. Otherwise, it'll catch up to you, right? What happens when you stop running? A lot of things will catch up to you. Like we design we say we're designing a business. One word that I hear a lot, a term that I hear a lot, overused term now, is I'm scaling something. And then it's like, well, what exactly are you scaling? Right? I would advise people in this moment, especially in regards to that, to look at I think it's called he has the four quadrants. It's Kiyosaki. It's not Rich Dad Poor Dad, but he took that same concept and wrote a book, and it talks about the different quadrants of where you are within your business. So people tell me, like, when they're scaling, I'm like, oh yeah, so if you don't go in tomorrow, what happens? You're right. Like if this doesn't happen, what happens? Like that's scaling. Scaling means that I can take some time off, and I can, and the business will still continue happening, right? Not necessarily that it won't miss a beat. It's still your business, but it will, the basic functions will happen. So we get to talk about those different standards. I digress. I think when we get into the growing pains of it, I think the growing gains, as you mentioned, like those are awesome. We all want to highlight those things. Those are Instagram quotes and posts that we can put up. But then there's like these little nuggets, because you don't know what you know until you're in the actual process of it. And you can spend your lifetime building something to be quote unquote perfect. However, human things happen. So what is your reaction going to be when this thing happens? Mike Tyson has a famous quote that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. So now you're actually feeling the impact of what this growing pain is, and you get to go back to your, what I would call like your standards, or not even go back. You get to look at your standards and say, well, how am I going to respond to this thing happening? Because life is happening. When I look at some of the greater people who I admire in business, just from their business acumen and how they, more so how they respond to it, like Lil Duval comes to mind. I think he has like a great way of equanimity, because I know he's a human being. He's having certain experiences, but the way that he shows up, it's kind of the same over through it all. When things are going terrible, when things are going great, he has this same way of being within it, of a, like, kind of processing it. I like Russell Simmons. I think Russell Simmons is awesome when it came to it. I think Russell Simmons reached like the upper echelons in this business. He found out that, hey, I don't necessarily want to be here because of, whatever's going on here. And he was able to go back, and now he's in Bali doing the yoga thing. But he has this, and you still see some negative things come up about him, but he responds in kind. Like he's actually sitting with these different things that are happening. And not to say that he's not sitting with sadness, guilt, anger, whatever, because I've seen him lash out, just like, because we're all human beings, we're not perfect. But then it just comes back to this zen of how you just kind of, you tend to look at these things, especially if you can open up your heart and do it with love. Last one, and I remember reading his book a while ago, and it didn't really hit me until this morning, was Richard Branson. Like I'm looking at Richard Branson, because my thought process is like, well, you have people, because I saw a Shaq quote today. Shaq said, you know how we are, you know how we fake it to make it. So I went out and I bought this huge yacht, so I can compete, and pretending like it was mine, until he was talking about this 80-year-old guy came through with an even bigger yacht. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, this Shaq is a multi millionaire. Like Shaq is not in poverty, right? He's not struggling when it comes to finances. But having even that thought, and he's talking about when he was younger, the thought of like almost, it's not enough. right? I'm not enough. This is not enough. I need to, because he used, it was his words, not mine. I'm pretending like this is mine, right? And so it's like, imagine someone who's not at nowhere close to that position, but we still tend to do it through, whatever means it is. It's almost performative in nature, the whole fake it until we make it. And I think there's two different aspects of it, but I mean, physically pretending to be something as if what you are is not enough. I think that's going to go into a super deep dive when we do that. I might even cry because there's this thing about operating from a place of not being okay and what you're not having being okay. So this, to me, when you start to experience that, you start to chase things. And one thing about entrepreneurship over my last 10 years, I get sold to, everybody's trying to sell me something, right? And they sell it from a place of fear and or hope. Either you should fear this or you'll hope for something, as opposed to being, you know what? And what I've started to like really relate to and resonate with is like, it's not much that like this thing is gonna happen. The thing that I spend the most of my time now in the last couple of months is really like my standards and my principles. Like that, I'm like like the moment something comes across my desk and it's not for me. Yeah, nope, can't do it. And I don't even really have to give a proper explanation for it. It's just no, I'm not. Nah, think of me in the future. Whatever it is that it comes out, but it's not for me. Or things that like really call to me. It's like, oh yeah, because I was operating and I was taught to operate from this chase, convince, close, chase, convince, close. And now where I'm at, it's more like, okay, it's attract, serve, trust. I'm just cultivating these different things. I'm cultivating attracting the people that I wanted, or the things and people and whatever that I want to deal with. I want to serve those same people that are already there, already in my life, already understand. And then just cultivating the trust in that relationship to where it's like, okay, this is what I come to expect from Mike. This is what it is. And from that point on, everything just starts to fall from there. It's not a perfect system. Nothing is. And every now I got to remind myself, like, hey, are you chasing right now? Yeah, you might be chasing. Check yourself. Like what's going on? Are you trying to convince somebody right now? Like that same conversation I recently had. I'm like, wow, I think we're both attempting to convince each other of something when we're really just, and that makes us talk past each other because we start to defend and protect points that aren't really even what we're trying to say. It's really gonna, when we talk about impact, there's no impact to it, but probably a little disdain for the person or contempt for the person when we get off the phone, or even in the moment of the conversation, like this disdain and contempt. So this, and then of course closing. Like I'm truly done with closing. I'm almost attempting to convince people not to do things now. Like, are you sure? Like what is this exactly going to change? Is this the right time? Right? You almost have to convince me to continue on with whatever it is we're going, whatever it is that we're doing. And I mean, it's made such an impact on my life, the quality of life. The busyness went down and the productivity went up, if that even makes sense. I mean, the busyness has went down and the productivity has went up. And it's just implementing a couple of these different changes of these different standards. I'm not running around. I'm not, chasing takes up a lot of time.
Energy.
But when this thing stops, when this thing stops and you have to like take it in, to me, I was disillusioned. It was like, it was the thing like I can't believe it. Like I was in shock of what it was. And getting to the point, I think we spoke about it and you had a different word for it. But fatigue, like the amount of fatigue that you're doing. Like I want everyone to remember the last time. Some of you all, it was today. Some of it could have been, it might be happening right now. where you had to like convince somebody of something, not educate, not teach, not trust, not give them their autonomy, not give them, not create safety, but you were attempting to convince them of something logically. And you could have all the logical steps. You could have done all the research. You could have the stats, right? I'm huge on stats. And this person is just like, nah. This is my favorite. Is in my experience, when someone says that, in my experience, right? And so that was like this convincing, like I hear you in your experience. I don't necessarily know if what you're doing is working for you, because you seem to be a little bit disheveled, but it doesn't add up. Quote unquote, it doesn't add up. We're kind of looking for the needle in the haystack. I want people to pay attention. This whole social media has us all believing that we're superstars with like 10 views, or even 1,000 views. Like, you people get 1,000 views. But anyways, I digress. The energy that it takes to convince and chase, which it'll never work. They may even, this goes to a book that you were reading a while back, and I'm still going through it as my Bible, the Never Split the Difference, and a lot of the principles that were in there. If you're not giving people their autonomy and safety and making it emotionally, and that's emotionally safe, and for them to make a decision, they will go against their own self-interest. People vote against their own self-interest all the time. Like, you say, how did this person get into office and he doesn't represent anything it is, he or she doesn't represent anything it is that you have going on? And the person is just like, nah, and they will find the little things that'll make it rationalized to make it correct for them. And we beat it. Now, this is that we're beating it on each other. We're fighting against each other in regards to this specific thing, but you haven't given them that autonomy. People want that. They want the ability, the freedom to make their own decisions, and they want to feel safe within the decision that they're making, and with you. So you have to create that. So I think this will be an awesome conversation as we move forward with it. I know we got a little bit of time here, brother. So how do you want to end this?
And I'd like to say, man, I enjoyed everything that you just said. Love it. I enjoyed also the chase, convince, close versus the attract, serve, cultivate. I'm taking that with me. Those are some of the notes, some things that I want to take with me. Operating from a place of not being okay. I thought about the adverse of that statement because I like that statement so much. And the first thing that came to my mind is, excuse me, not that one. The statement where you say you don't know what you know until you start building something. I might have got some of that quote off a little bit, but I thought of the adverse of that. You don't know what you don't know until you process what you thought you knew when it didn't work. And like, for me, to the whole world, it's like, these are things that I am currently going through. So in this series, you're going to hear some stuff. Like Mike said, he might cry, maybe I might too. Because I'm like going back and forth. I'm going from this level of sheer fatigue. I'm talking about pushing 22-hour days, right? And and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is the quote unquote, for me, you all will learn more about it, quote unquote, soft opening, which is like not a soft opening, just a little event. Gather some people together, don't tell anybody really what's even going on. Just kind of like put a little blurb out there. Whoever shows up, you show up. And in the middle of that process, like a day or two before that, I looked around. A buddy of mine, shout out to Ramon Barber. He had stopped by. He stopped by and he was like 2 days before. He stopped by on a Thursday to help me with something. And he looked around and he was like, when are you gonna do this thing? I'm like, well, we're gonna open up a little soft opening tomorrow. Now, he didn't say anything until after he came the very next night. And he walked in the door and he was like, yo, yesterday this place was not looking like it was ready. And what I'm sharing with you all is that between the time that he had left and the time that the place was ready, I had given I let everything go. And I decided whatever will be, will be. Whoever will come, will come. And whatever will happen, will happen. And that's just the end of it. And so from that point, there was absolutely no stress in my heart, in my mind, or in my body. I slept that night. I got like 6 hours, maybe 7. And I got up, got me a little something to eat, a little bit of coffee, and I went in, started to work. And then I told my partner, I told him the same thing I just said. Whatever is going to be is going to be. And that's it. Because it was radiating stress. Whatever's going to be is going to be. Whoever's going to come, they're going to come. And when the time showed up, our sponsor was there in the room, and the guest was in the room, the guest speaker was in the room, and nobody else was there. So I came out, I had freshened up, came out. I was like, all right, let's get started. That's it. It's just the 6 of us here. Said there may be people coming. There may not. Let's get started. Mm-hmm. As we got started, people started walking in and just sitting down. And people came from as far as Port St. Lucie and just sitting down. And it was a beautiful night. So there's a lot of that in the middle of this. You can hear I was chasing 3 days before that, attempting to convince myself this is going to work. I was attempting to close the entire process the way I desired it. And then that Thursday night, I decided, let it all go. And when I let it all go, I didn't even do the attract part, but I believe I became attractive when I began to start serving people. And when I began to start serving them, it cultivated this spirit in the room so that people that I had never met before said, I just love the way it feels in here. I feel like family. And that opened up the door to new opportunities that now I have been attracting since that day. There it is.
I'm gonna let you go, but there was so much in that conversation, man. At first I heard it sounded like surrendering to the process. When you're chasing, convincing, and closing, you're not surrendering to this thing. You're fighting this thing tooth and nail, like you're fighting it. You're fighting
elbows and all, buddy.
Yeah.
Tooth, elbows, knees.
Off the top rope, and then I'll bring it home because I know you got to go. Last thing was that you mentioned was I started to you said it was like within yourself, because it was like you were chasing and convincing yourself of something. I want people to understand that I'm gonna tell you when mental fatigue can tend to start to hit in, right? I don't know if this will resonate with anybody, but it kind of struck me when I thought about it, was that it's the difference between your standards and your whatever this reality it is. So you're spending a lot of time attempting to not really pay attention to the reality of the situation and trying to pull this thing here. You're steadily attempting to pull yourself and convince yourself that this is what it is, when it's just like if you start to accept it and just surrender to what is going on, it's tomorrow is this soft opening. I'm going to get, to my loving and present self, and I'm going to perform. I don't care if it's just us in this room or it's 1,000 people in this room. They're going to get my my presence because these people came to engage with me. I attracted from whatever what I was doing. I attracted these people. So when I get to, and I know how you get to serve, like it can't, people can't help but start to feel the trust. It's not even, you don't even have to show them and numbers or whatever. It's just that'll come later. I'm sure it's there, but it's just this. Oh, I trust this guy. It's something about it. They might not even had an idea yet, but it starts to percolate in their mind. Like, well, maybe I could. You know what I mean? And all these possibilities start to come together. I was getting goosebumps as you spoke about it, right? The surrendering and the attracting and the serving and the trust within it. And this is super new, and this business specifically is super new. But all of your experience in life is going to is there, and it's extensive. Right, it's an extent it's, it's extensive because yeah, a long time ago you said as you were growing up, and I've never forgot this statement. You said I just felt everything. You know what I mean? You said it, you said I felt everything. Right, so people who are attracted to that, who want to be around someone who's present, someone that's going to hold space for them, someone that's going to be able to um and I think that's the most important thing, see them, not this identity that we put off. I not and there's nothing wrong with your identity, but when you're in a room and someone actually sees you, like the words don't even have to really come out. It's just, oh man, I'm this person is seeing me and holding me, and it's going back to it, I'm safe within this space. What comes from that is so natural to us. It's interesting how we've been taught a different way, and I'm sure it works from time to time, but the natural thing that comes out of us, right? This expansive nature to the ability to create and multiply when you are actually at your core self, and it's just that feeling. And it happens all the time here on Community Beacon. Sometimes I come in here and the day didn't go so well, right? And the brother and I get to talking, and what comes out of the conversation is just like that's we say iron sharpening iron, and it sounds rough, but that's actually what it is. It's this naturally occurring thing that's happening, and it feels to me light. If I were to say had a feeling to it, it's like this light feeling of creation. So man, go check the brother out. I know I kept them. We went over long. Um, Community Beacon people, we're back.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you, bro. I accept every single word you just poured into me. Felt that. Till next time.
Next
Thank you.
time, y'all. Peace.